Hey, thanks for being here. I'm not sure how far I'm going to get into this. I was going to maybe not even make this video. I have a lot that I'm going to post for this coming week. So, in my mind, I considered not even making this, but I already came up with the questions that might be interesting for the collective readings. There's a lot going on. We have the full moon. We have Jupiter going into Leo. We have, sorry, my hair's bugging me. I feel like I always have bad hair days. It's like my standard, my default is bad hair day. Um, we have the full moon in Capricorn. We have Jupiter going into Leo. We have Mercury retrograde in Cancer. We have Mars ingressing into Gemini. So I made a lot of standalone videos this week. So to start with, hi, how are you? How are you doing? I hope you're doing good over there on the other side of the screen. Don't be alarmed by this candle. It's very severe. I know. It's not a fire hazard. It's on its way out, and I will be making a new candle. I have to have fire going when I do anything spiritual. So do not be alarmed. It's okay. I know it looks insane. um, anyway, so let's begin starting with Mars going into Gemini. So I want to start with my impressions. I think that's what I'm going to do when I make these videos. Start with the impressions, like the little random things that pop in. It kind of always happens now where something comes in. It's like, why did this just happen in my brain? So to start with, Mars going into Gemini, Encino Man popped in just randomly. That movie from the 90s about the caveman who was frozen in ice and thawed out into modern civilization. Mars in Gemini is like Encino Man, okay? It's Mars is our inner caveman at times. It's about our primal instinct, its drive, its desires. It's kind of wordless. It's the part, it's like the animal part of ourselves that interacts with resistance in life or challenges or survival. Mars is very much tied to survival. And in Gemini, it's survival of the mind. So it might feel like survival of the fittest in a mental sense. I was getting the energy of switching from intuitive awareness being something we can trust, switching from that to I have to rely on my mind. I have to outsmart circumstances. It's the energy of needing to survive mentally. So that might bring extra pressure, possibly. I forgot to say, this may or may not be accurate. Don't take everything I say seriously. Let's not take me seriously. I don't want to take myself seriously. So this is either going to resonate or not, and it might not appear in the ways that I feel and think. I'm just sharing my insights with you, whoever. Thank you for watching. instead of doing this alone. I've done this alone for a long time, and I finally decided maybe I could share it with whoever would find it interesting. Anyway, Mars and Gemini, feeling extra pressure perhaps, connected to our intellect. How can I outsmart my challenges? And it could arise as being like having difficulty trusting intuition, because the lust for the mind with Mars and Gemini could be very strong. Mars is lust, Gemini is the intellect in a functioning sense. Gemini is kind of how the mind works, how it navigates the linear world. That's why it rules the third house. Third house is you walk outside and everything you see, that's third house. Ninth house is the opposite. You have to get on a plane. You have to get on a boat. But the third house, it's Gemini. It's everything you see when you walk right outside. It's navigating the world through observation, communication, reading street signs, even. So, feeling extra pressured when it comes to navigating things mentally. And I kept getting lust for the mind. It's almost recognizing God in the human intellect was the vibe, which could be a pitfall. I think we should ideally be balanced between intuition and intellect. But Mars and Gemini, it's like I could do this all with my mind, with my smarts, with my intellect. The challenge is not obsessing over things that are seemingly random. That's another thing that popped in. Resisting the urge to obsess things into making sense. Like if I just think hard enough, that's Mars and Gemini. If I just think hard enough, if I just stress my mind out hard enough, it's gonna make sense. But that's where the balance of intellect and intuition come in, because some things you're not supposed to figure out. And the pressure gets relieved by remembering that intuition plays a part as well, in accepting that randomness has a purpose. Mars and Gemini has a hard time accepting that randomness has a purpose. I have this placement, so I will tell you, I have had such a hard time trusting my intuition my entire life. I've always kind of known that I'm pretty intuitive, but trusting it has been like an identity crisis. So it's that. It's, can I trust this if I can't see all point A, point B, point C? How do I trust this if I can't dissect it? Mars and Gemini, or no, Gemini is dissecting as well. It's taking apart each piece to examine it. So there's that. Let me go into my notes. Now, I tried to summarize. I forgot. Oh gosh, I'm not gonna do it. My dumbass, I thought I could summarize a week's worth of astrology and be like, here's an overview of everything, an everything sandwich, but I don't think that's how I work. I think I'm a little more scattered than that, and I should just accept it, because I was really struggling to summarize everything. So we're going to continue with Mars and Gemini. Mars is leaving Taurus. And while Mars was in Taurus, we may have been more relaxed about outcomes and destination. Taurus is Ferdinand, the bull. Ferdinand the bull. All he wants to do is smell the flowers. So while Mars was in Taurus, it almost gives the vibe of having the fight taken out of us temporarily when it comes to where am I going? And Mars going into Gemini, it's like waking up all of a sudden. Oh crap, I have somewhere to go. I got to do some stuff. So going from a more relaxed pace with Mars and Taurus to the white rabbit from Alice in Wonderland. Oh my God, I'm late, I'm late, I'm late. So yeah, it's a lot of pressure on the intellectual self to figure stuff out. But it's a good transit. The positives is learning how to be versatile, learning how to change your perspectives to survive what you want to survive, learning how to change perspective in the face of defeatism. It's becoming more agile through challenges. So I'm going to read some of my notes and then we're going to get to the cards. Mars in Gemini is excitable and stimulating, and it ties our sense of survival to perception and observation. Some of us may feel as though there's extra weight placed upon our powers of perception, almost like I have to figure this out before it crushes me. Those are air quotes. Why do I do that a lot? Whatever. Or I have to be on the lookout, or I'm going to be taken advantage of in some way. When I tapped into this, it almost felt like the suspicion of Scorpio, but it's not as deep as Scorpio is. This is more the energy of avoiding being outsmarted in some way. Like, do you ever have something that happens in life that you feel outsmarted you? Like, if I had just known this or this or this, I could have beat this. It's that kind of energy. That's kind of the pressure that I'm getting. And Scorpio does that. Scorpio is always scanning for threats. Scorpio energy, I'm not saying Scorpio people are always like that. When I talk about the signs a lot, I tap into them as energy. So when I say Scorpio does this, it's the energy of the sign. I'm not talking about people with those placements. This energy ties our sense of vitality to our thoughts, which can bring up many scenarios, any of which may or may not be true, because Mercury is the trickster. So we're trying to prepare for something to be what it's not. Take that how you will. The vibe I'm getting is almost the suspicious air of Scorpio, which I just said, but it's not as investigative of discomfort, nor is it as reflective. It's more just being competitive with randomness. Like, I gotta be better at this so that I'm not caught off guard next time. It's survival tied to thought more so in the way that we may feel as though we need to outsmart our circumstances before they devolve into something we would not prefer. There's a lot of pressure placed on intellect during this cycle. Mars also connects us to our sense of competition. When it makes an ingress, it can really stir up certain competitive tendencies or highlight insecurities in certain ways. Mars in Gemini at 0 degrees shows us new avenues of asserting our stances through communication and revitalizing ideas. This may mean feeling inspired to present new ideas that are going to push you to the forefront in some way. Like, oh, I've never thought of this before. I should tell so and so. It's new approaches to communication that is empowering. This is the energy of pushing the breath of life back into our minds and realizing what it feels like to be intellectually alive. Aliveness in a mental sense is something we could strive for in some way while this influence is active. Mars could have a way of causing us to untether ourselves from the heart while the mind is so active. It's a challenge to avoid the pitfall of thinking everything can be solved with only the mind. It's that lust for intellect that I think is common in the modern world because we're able to prove so many observations with scientific methods that becomes more of the whole picture And the unseen kind of gets tossed to the wayside. If you can't prove it, it never happened, is the mentality. This is reverence for the intellect that can be exciting, but can we hold on to our connection to intuition while temptation to favor thought is so strong? And again, I have this exact placement. My Mars is at 0 degrees and it's retrograde, right on my midheaven. And it has been so hard trusting my intuition. Even just doing this channel, trusting my intuition. Like, I have days where I wake up and I'm like, none of this is true. I can't be getting information this way. A lot of self-doubt around the mind as well and its capabilities. So I want to get to the readings. Okay, what deck are we going to use today? We'll use the Tarot de Marseille, the reimagined. I don't know, I love this deck so much. I'm sorry, I'm so fidgety. I'm very self-conscious, but I'm working on it, all right? I know it seems super vain to worry about how you look, but here is the jig with this. The transit talk that I just finished is transient. It's temporary. The transit's going to come and it's going to go. The readings are timeless. If these messages are meant to find you, they could find you at any time. That's the intention. They're not dependent on the transits. The transit is just to explore astrological symbolism and connect us to our symbolic mind. And the transits inspire these questions that I'm going to be asking the cards. Feel free to stay through all the questions or just pick one that you feel interested in seeing what the cards have to say by way of answering the questions. So all of these are inspired by the downloads that I get looking at the astrology. Here are the questions. Question 1, in what way is my mind fueling my survival? Question 2, how can I release the need to put unneeded weight upon my mind? Question 3, what am I currently figuring out that will change where I'm going in life? Okay, 3 questions. Okay, I'm going to shuffle and connect, and then I will read. Okay, whoever finds this reading is for you. Question 1, in what way is your mind fueling your survival? Death reversed. Letting go of resistance to change. So big changes in perspective and sorting through closure, sorting through what is meant to change, what is not, major flexibility. There's something here about sifting that is calling to mind here when I look at this imagery. So mentally sifting through, sorting stuff, like legit sifting through, being selective. Selectiveness is a way to shed the old. It's not even just shedding the old. I feel like shedding new situations as well. Being able to toss out. It's interesting. It's like, well, other people think this is valuable, but I'm realizing it's not, so I'm going to just toss it. There's things that have made an impact on you, perhaps, that even if it's made an impact, you're able to see how it's not useful or how you've outgrown it. I feel you outgrowing things quickly. So that's like rapid growth, and perhaps learning different subjects. That doesn't feel fully accurate. It's sifting through things. So it kind of feels like your mind is heavily connected to your ability to adapt, your ability to see, like, sure, this makes an impact and it seems real, but I'm going to just toss it somehow. Does that make sense? I can't really explain it fully, but we will clarify all of these. Pretty cool. Question 2, how can you release the tendency to put unneeded weight upon your mind? I changed it from need. How can you release the need to put unneeded weight upon your mind? How can you release the tendency to burden yourself through the mind? We have Page of Swords reverse, narratives. Not attaching to narratives goes right back to this. You don't attach to stuff that's unnecessary. I feel as though there may have been confusion in the past where people are trying to show how impactful certain things are. Like, why doesn't this matter to you? And you're having independence of thought where it's the vibe of, sure, this is impactful and it resonates for most people, but I'm not going to attach to it. So there's almost a sense of isolation with this, but it's really being flexible in a permanent way, which sounds kind of odd, but that's just what it feels like. Being able to detach from stuff that other people are freaking out about. Like, why are you focusing on this? That feels like you possibly looking at other people's reactions. So, how can you release the tendency to burden your mind? You're already kind of doing that by not attaching, not feeling insecure anymore in the face of what you don't know, and kind of leveling up quickly, like a snake shedding skin after skin after skin. Okay. Question 3, what are you currently figuring out that will change where you're going? Seven of Pentacles reversed. It's legit verifying this energy of, I'm not going to attach to that. Yes, it could be earth-shattering if it's true, but I'm not going to bond to it. I don't know what this is. I feel it so strongly, though. Like, other people keep hammering it. This is important. This is important. You need to do this, or you need to take this on. You need to believe this. But I feel you inhabiting truth in a way that is shedding. You don't become ideas. Maybe that's what this is. You don't become ideas. You know that certain perspectives are temporary and you're able to move on, understanding that you're going to find what's necessary as you go. You don't need to stay rooted. That's pretty cool. There's fear-based thinking around you, perhaps. And you're like, I don't have to be afraid. I know that I'm investing. Seven of Pentacles reversed. It's investing in new ways. You're unplugging previous burdens or previous commitments. Unplugging. You know which cords to pull. That's really the summation. I'm going to clarify. Let's use these. I don't usually use these. The Citadel. Very nice deck. I just don't use it a lot for whatever reason. We'll keep this handy. The book. Yep. Okay, we're ready to clarify. Death reversed, which is answering the question, in what way is your mind fueling survival? We got the Weaver. There you are, collecting, sifting, You're understanding the threads in the tapestry. You have a sharp awareness of each individual thread in the tapestry. Like you're zooming in on your commitments or zooming in on long-term perception to such an extent. Like if you picture life's understanding as a tapestry, like we got it here. You have an understanding. I'm seeing like all the different threads glinting, absorbing light specifically, individually. It's nuanced. So you know if you pick this color thread or this type of material thread, you know how it's gonna contrast with other things. Does that make sense? Like having an awareness of the metaphorical material that you're weaving, being able to be like, I don't want this in the big picture, because if it's in the big picture, it's just going to have a weird contrast. So that's pretty cool. And then the pilgrim, going to new places. A pilgrim, it's like, I know where I'm going, and it's a risk in some respect. A pilgrim is looking for new lands. So why did the pilgrim have to look for a new land? It's like the feeling of being exiled in a certain way. I'm not saying you're exiled, but it's this feeling of the old environment has worn out and you understand that. So you're moving on. Okay. And then we have the captain. Oh my gosh, you're the captain of the Pilgrim, the Mayflower. That's dope. You're the captain of the Mayflower. You not only are you ready for a new voyage, but you're also the captain. You're like, I'm going. I'm going to steer the ship. I'm going to do it all. It's a boatload. Very cool. Okay, let's clarify. Page of Swords, which is answering the question, how can you release the tendency to put unneeded weight upon your mind? Which you already seems like you're doing by recognizing the impermanence of perception. But we have the patron, mentorship, and finances. Wow. People offering you financial advice, maybe, kind of what it feels like. Like you should be doing this. It goes back to Seven of Pentacles reversed. You should be doing this. You should be preparing for your future in this way. People think you're not prepared, but you are in some way. The page energy, you may feel as though people are perceiving you as a novice when it comes to preparing. But there is something here. You're the captain. You also know how to negotiate in some way. Look at that handshake there. Okay. The scholar, there we go. You're in other people's, I'm not going to say this is true. Like, I don't know if it's accurate. Maybe this is the energy coming up that might resonate, right? That's how the lens we should use. Seems like you feel as though other people see you as a novice or a student, and they're lecturing you perhaps on how to prepare for something. And this is a time to recognize you have the ability to learn what you need to learn. And you don't have to take criticism to heart as long as you're willing to do your best to learn the linear stuff that you need to learn. So maybe Mars and Gemini is a time to be more steady in collecting information outside of what other people are telling you to do, or alongside and just integrating it individually, your way. Then we have the poet. Relationships are coming through. So people see you as very deep, very artistic, very creative, and there may be an outside concern that you feel where it's like, well, do they recognize my intelligence Or do they just see me as a spacey? There's a lot coming through. I feel as though there's a concern about your art not being perceived as intelligent. Like you could be working on something super artistic, and the fear is your intelligence not shining through what you're creating. But what I'm seeing is a phase of integrating your intelligence in a way that totally shows through what you're making. So that's a little random, but it really is coming through strongly here. Okay. Clarifying. Seven of Pentacles reversed, which is answering the question, what are you currently figuring out that will change where you're going in life? All right, what do we got? We got the pathless. Oh, wow. The path itself. You're checking how the path is paved. I keep seeing these materials like sifting. Goes back to death. Reversed. I keep seeing like examining how things are made moving forward. Could be literal. Maybe you're checking the quality of certain things. It feels mostly figurative. Like I'm going to tear out the road that was built before me. No, go back further than that. I'm going to figure out where I'm going. I'm the captain. You're the pilgrim and the captain, right? This is the energy of doing that, and you have to build the road, and you have to figure out what to build the road with. There's like a lot in consideration, and you're scrutinizing the building blocks of everything. Wow. So you're figuring that out. You're going to figure out where to go, how to build the road, what to build the road with. It's hefty. I think you'll be fine. The runaway, secrets, running from problems. Wow. Ditching certain burdens or opening the cage for growth. It's small fish, big fish, small pond territory that we're wandering into. This cage imagery, it makes me wonder why you would put plants in a cage. That's what's coming up as I look at it. Like, I don't know. You plant something, you put a cage on top for whatever reason. I don't know who decided that would be a good idea. Just exploring the imagery, right? You plant something, you put a cage on top, and instead of the heavy metal cage blocking growth, the growth is able to break through the bottom of the cage and grow through the bars to find the light. So there's something here about your environment not being ideal in some way, or it's cage-like. And the feeling is reaching toward the light through the bars, and then you realize, wait, I can open the door. Maybe. We have the archer, biding your time, planning ahead. That's what you're doing. And the archer could be seen as somebody who's taking shots in the dark. I keep getting a split perception between your ability to plan to the minutest degree and other people possibly perceiving you as a novice. It's like other people might watch you doing something and they're like, I don't know how this is going to work out. I'll be honest with you, you know? But secretly, you're right on target. You're going to hit the target. It's going to be that shot where it's like, how the heck? How did you do it? You know? So, okay. Maybe I'll end this here. I don't know if I have time to do the other I just have a couple more to do, but I think I am going to end this here. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. I appreciate you so much. I can't believe people are commenting such amazingly kind things. I almost feel like I don't deserve it. I will be real. Anyway, thank you for your comments. They are so mind-blowingly kind. Seriously, I wish I could express it better. It's like changing my entire worldview to be receiving such kindness for this. So you make an impact, and the kindness you're capable of just by like leaving a comment on some random lady's videos. That's how I feel. Like I feel like you're capable of such kindness, and thank you for sharing it with me. I'm gonna go now. I'm gonna edit this, and I'm probably gonna be back with another one. Let's see, we have a big aspect with Mars and Uranus, so maybe I'll come back later and work on it. Okay, thanks for watching. Thank you so much. All right, bye.